Kevin J. Johnston here from freedomreport.ca. I'm once again with Eric Brazau, and now we're going to talk about the taqiyya. This man is an expert, far more than myself. Eric, please tell me about the fine art of Islamic deception.
Okay, deception. In the Quran, it specifically says that the best of deceivers is Allah. Allah deceives. Lies are permissible if they are for the advancement of Allah and Islam. There is no such thing as honor between human beings in Islam. And the reason for that is because not all of us, according to Islam, are human beings. The only human beings that count are Mohammedans, right. So, right from, I can't remember which chapter 2 already, it says, never should a believer kill a believer except by mistake. Now, I know this doesn't speak directly to taqiyya yet, but understand this. If I wrote a book that said never should a white man kill a white man except by mistake, who would have a problem with that statement?
Some white people, but everybody else who's not white.
Bingo. Okay, yeah. Obviously.
The other four races will
So what am I implying by that? If I say never should a white man kill a white man, I'm making an implication.
Well, you're implying that you're the best.
I'm implying that we can kill everybody other than white people.
Sure.
Okay, so Islam specifically says never should a Muslim kill a Muslim except by mistake. Okay, so they don't see people as human beings. They see us as objects to move around, to use. They use friendship. They use friendship. They use associations only for their advancement, and that's absolutely permissible by the teachings of the Quran and Allah.
Is it permissible or is it law? That's the part I'm.
Well, it's not that it's a law, and it's not that it's permissible. It's actually advocated. You have what's called haram and halal.
Right.
Okay. So haram is something you're not allowed to do. You can't do that. Halal is something that you're allowed to do. So if you want to go and lie to someone who is not a Muslim, well, you're definitely allowed to do that. But you don't even have to be speaking to. So that is not actually part of Sharia law. That's just part of how Islam works. Lying is part of Islam to advance themselves.
So court of law, lie. In a deposition to someone, lie. It's a friend of yours.
Let's take that.
I want to make sure that we understand this.
Let me explain this. Okay. Islam is at war constantly with every other ideology forever. It never stops. Okay.
Which includes countries.
Countries, people, and it's not like a 10-year war. It's a war that goes on forever. It's 100-year. So it's a 100-year plan. It's a 1,000-year plan. Okay. You remember when we were at war with the Germans? We did not look badly upon putting in an agent to infiltrate. Yeah. Everything is fair in love and war.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Islam is at war. Their agenda is to take over the West. So why would anyone assume if a Muslim is saying something, then that must be true? It could be true. Perhaps it just happens to be true. But if it's not true and he's misleading you, well, understand there is an Islamic agenda there, which is to mislead everybody in order to advance Islam. Now, that is not just the Muslim people. That is the teachings of Allah. So as a Muslim, you are enjoined to advance Islam and use any means possible. So the means possible could be putting a backpack and blowing up a subway. Or it could be becoming a doctor and helping some sick children at the sick children's hospital. Then, when you're doing something like that, everyone's going, well, look at the nice Muslim doctor. He works at the sick children's hospital. Wow, wonderful man. And look, he's even helping the little Jewish children and straightening out their legs, and they have heart murmurs. And what a wonderful man. Well, he may be doing all of that, but he's not doing that because he loves the little children. He's doing that because, number one, he wants to get paid. But number one, because he's advancing the Islamic ideology by allowing people to be misconstrued.
He wants the trust of the we'll call it the white culture, being
Right.
anybody who's second, third, fourth generation Canadian. He wants their trust. But the second it's time to vote for Sharia, he'll vote for it.
Oh, absolutely. Because ultimately, when he goes home, he's living in an Islamic household. Like, why? If ask yourself this: if a man is here in Canada and he says, I'm against suicide bombing, I'm against the hatred of Jews, I'm against the killing and the stoning of the LGBT and community and beheading of people and putting them on fire and burning them, and I'm against this whole idea of misogyny against women, and I think women are equal to men. If he's all of those things, well, then he's not a Muslim.
I've heard that argument, and I agree with it.
He's not a Muslim. So, or he's not a Muslim, or if he says he's lying, because Islam is not what he says it is. Islam is in the Quran. So don't listen to what a Muslim tells you about Islam. Just read the Quran.
So let me ask you this then. Because Islam is what I would call a cheap copy of Christianity and Judaism, it's all kind of mashed together into a hodgepodge of hate. And supposedly Allah is the same God that the Christians follow. Supposedly.
Right. Supposed.
How is it that Christianity that was written 600 years earlier has a God that says, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't commit adultery, honor your parents? Some pretty good ideas.
Yeah, if somebody slaps you, be gentle, be meek, mild.
Right, but how do we go from that to 600 years later, this Quran stuff, whereas Allah says, lie, 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 lie some more, and when you got what you want, lie some more.
Okay. It's not really that complicated. I mean, it's become complicated simply because everyone says Islam is a religion and it's become a religion. What is it that men, I'm one, you're one.
Of course.
What is it that we want, and think back to when you were 14 and 15 years old. What is it that we want more than anything?
To get laid.
Bingo.
Laid.
It's all about the women. It's all about the women in the hot tub. Okay, so that's what Muhammad was all about. That's why they were doing it with everybody and anything. They think, look, just read the Quran, read the life of Muhammad. It was all about robbing caravans. They weren't Islam, the early Muslims produced nothing. They didn't work. They didn't build tents. They basically lived as bandits. So when you live as a bandit, you're robbing and you're pillaging and you're raping. Simple.
Take what you want, leave.
Yeah. So Islam is founded by a man who was a warlord. There's nothing spiritual about Muhammad. There's nothing to learn from Muhammad. There's no mustard seed. There's no forgiveness. There's no 7 times 7 and all of these interesting the Lazarus stories and the man who's thirsty at the gates, and there's none of that in the Quran. It's all about what you can do to the people who don't believe in Islam. 30, 40, maybe even 50%, 60% of the Quran is all about the other, the unbeliever. How you should kill them, how you cannot be like them, don't be their friends. A chastising, a punishment awaits them in this world and in the hereafter.
And if they're not an Islamic woman, rape them, right?
Rape them, use them, sell them,
make them property.
Make them your property.
Yes.
I mean, even a Muslim woman who's married, she's still his property. And look at how they treat their wives in the true Islamic state. Well, how do you think they're treating their concubines and their slaves?
I have actually seen some videos on that, and I'm making future videos about the treatment of slaves and servants.
Right.
I've seen some disgusting video footage that I'm going to have to be very judgmental on what I put onto YouTube. It's probably going to be a bunch of black bars covering the stuff I've seen. I was in tears last night watching this stuff. It was a Coptic Christian woman sent me a bunch of videos about what she had to endure. And it's all about, again, lies, lies, lies. And what was the story goes, and it's not even a story, it's that Ethiopians and Somalian blacks are being lied to. Come to the Islamic countries. We're going to give you work and money and a place to stay and food, milk and honey. They say all that stuff. And then just end up getting as much free labor out of them as possible and then beating them and raping them. And they film it. Muslims film their cruelty and stick it online as a way to say, look at what good Muslims we are.
Well, many of the rapes that are being reported in Spain, Germany, and Holland have been recorded by the Muslims themselves. They're recording the rapes and putting those online so they can basically, give the finger to all of the white males in Germany and say, look, we're raping your women, and you've got nothing. There's nothing you can do about it. But back to the taqiyya and the lying. Yes. So everywhere that Islam goes, it's a lie. It lies. The Quran tells them to lie because everything is for the advancement of Islam. So we have to ask all the people out there in internet land, how much Islam is too much Islam? And when do you think the Muslims are going to stop advocating and agitating for more Islam?
Oh, they're never going to stop.
Right.
I think we all know this. The idea would be to get this millennial generation born after 1980 to read the goddamn book. Read the book, understand it, start watching these videos of what Islam is really all about, and start paying attention, like you and I do, to former Muslims and Christians who live in those areas.
But the problem with that is that if they have to read the Quran, then they'd have to know something, then they'd have to make some decisions, then they'd have to... that's going to interfere with their time on their Xbox 360. Come on, we can't expect them to give up that.
And do you know what is hilarious about what you just said? Is that as it stands right now, with all the surveys that are being done on this millennial generation, they're having less than half the amount of sex that our generation had. They're not interested in sex. They're not pursuing anything aside from video games and maybe the occasional protest where they can shout racist, racist, hate monger, patriarchy, and then go back and
as
play
opposed
video
to
games.
running after women. They're running after video games so they can play in their
What's
basement.
wrong with you guys?
Right.
There is nothing better than taking a decent lady out for a meal and having a good conversation, go dancing, get home, and have a great night, a great sex in the sack, and wake up in the morning and
you have to
make breakfast. I mean, that's work,
right?
But it's great. The end result is great.
Well, the end result usually is little babies and children and such, and a family, and then that's responsibility.
Oh, there you go. It's responsibility.
So again, or they could just sit in their basements, play with their Xbox 360.
Of course, now I blame their parents for that, for not throwing them out of the house, but I digress. And
that's
a
another
different
story.
That's
another topic, right?
So let's get back to it. Taqiyya is lie, 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 lie. You have the right to lie to get your way. If someone accuses you of being a Muslim and they're going to kill you for it, it's okay to lie and say you're not a Muslim.
Absolutely.
And then afterwards go kill someone else.
So whereas in Christianity, Christians are willing to die for their faith. In Islam, they're willing to kill you for their faith.
Yes, but not die themselves. Unless
they die for Allah.
Yes, because 72 virgins in the afterlife.
Right, but they're dying while they're killing as a martyr, so for Islam in that sense.
We need science to prove that there are not 72 virgins in the afterlife, but instead 500 really obese truck driving males from Tennessee. Yes. That's what needs to be taught to them. That's what awaits you if you kill.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate that. Excellent information. I'm Kevin J. Johnston. This is Eric Brazau, freedomreport.ca.